Mishnah says as follows. Rabbi Nehorai Omer. Rabbi Nehorai said, "Have a goyle in the makom Torah. You should exile yourself to a place of Torah. Va'al toimer shehi tavo yacharecha, and don't say, nah, it's going to come after me. Shechavarecha yikamua biyodecha, because it's your friends that actually establish it in you. Ve'el binosecha al tishoin, and in your bina, and your understanding of things, don't rely. Don't rely, don't lean upon your understanding of things. You need to be in a place of Torah, and you need your friends that are there, who are in the frameworks of Torah, to establish that in you. So again, I had a lot of issues when I first read this Mishnah, and to tell you the truth, as generally with all the learnings, I went to sleep not knowing what I was going to say today. Had no idea how the Mishnah was going to transpire and what I was even going to share with you. In fact, I was so desperate in my understanding of this Mishnah that I thought it could be possible that this is going to be the day when I was going to say, guys, I need an extra day just to learn this, just that I can't learn tomorrow because I don't know what to share with you. I mean, we could read the Mishnah, I'm not going to understand it. And Baruch Hashem, I think it's only in the merit of the holy people that we have here with us in the learning that Hashem said, listen, Shmuel, you're a nothing, you're a irrelevant human being. But we have such holy people here, you can't leave them hanging. So Hashem gifted me with the interpretations that I needed to see in order to reveal the understanding of this Mishnah. I'll tell you my initial issues that I have with this Mishnah, and I'll tell you what was beyond like a real aha moment of experience through this Mishnah. And it's again, usually the Mishnahs that you read and you say, what's that talking about? No relevance to me. Come on, be relevant, Kenny, I really owe this to you. I often hear Ken's voice, in the interpretations of this Mishnah. And I say, if Kenny's going to say, what are you talking about? Then he's got a point. I got to really prepare myself for Ken, So, let me tell you the Ken voice in my head when I'm reading this Mishnah. Rabbi Nehorai Omer, havei goyle l'makom Torah. Exile yourself to a place of Torah. Okay? Now this is Ken's voice, which is also my voice when I was reading this Mishnah. What do you mean, exile yourself to a place of Torah? Why do I have to exile myself to a place of Torah? Hashem has given me a beautiful world to experience, to exist in, to enjoy. Why do I have to exile myself to a place of Torah? I mean, why do I have to be so limited in my experience of life? Get over yourself. Like, there's such a beautiful world that Hashem has created. I have to exile myself? Sounds so depleting, sounds so sadomasochistic, sounds so negative. Exile yourself. And then what? Okay, this place, that was the extent of Kenny's voice there. But that was enough to sort of create, a bit of an existential crisis when learning this Mishnah. Then the next part says, "Val toimer shi tavi acharecha." All right, don't say that it will come after you. Okay, that's what am I meant to get from that? What am I meant to learn from this? And the biggest issue that we face when we're learning Mishnayos and learning any parts of Torah is if it's not actionable, if it's not deeply changing us or shifting us, what's the point of it? So what am I practically meant to learn from this? Professor, are we going to tell you need to go to yeshiva now? You have to leave your home and go to yeshiva? Leave Rochelle, leave her at home, leave the family, and go learn in yeshiva. Is that what it's saying here? Go and exile yourself to a place of Torah. What happens if you can't exile yourself in a place of Torah? Is this Mishnah only talking about young children, bochrim, bechuros, who have just finished their schooling and now have an option to go to yeshiva? So now everyone, if you have the option to go to yeshiva or study in university, go to yeshiva. Exile yourself for a couple of years, for a year, and go study in yeshiva. Don't go to university straight away. Exile yourself to a place of Torah. What is that saying to us? How do we implement that if we don't have the opportunity to do this yet? That your friends will establish it for you, okay? Very nice, beautiful. The importance of friends, yeah? Come on. What about if you don't have friends? You know, what am I meant to do now? Go on Facebook and add more friends here? What about if I don't have friends that are religious, that want to establish this? Okay, so you're telling me I need to move to Israel. This is the whole point of this Mishnah. Move to Israel, yeah? And then you'll have a place of Torah. You have friends around you. Okay, good. If you have the opportunity to move to Israel, definitely go for it. Definitely. No question. You know, you can find work there. You can have a instrumental engagement there. It can be a healthy experience for you there. Go, 100%. But what if you can't? So should we just scrap this Mishnah? Has no relevance for us? What? And don't rely on your understanding. Oh, so I'm not meant to think? I'm not meant to try and understand things? I'm not meant to really utilize my understanding of life and try and understand things in a deeper way? I shouldn't rely on my understanding. What should I rely on? Wikipedia? I should go online, and what should I do? Okay, yes, it's saying that maybe I should speak to other people and not be so haughty and self-centered and self-righteous that I just focus my own understanding. Fine, okay. But you can get a sense here, unless if I'm just dof here. Maybe I'm dof and I don't get it. Does someone else have a deep understanding here? I mean, I do have something up my sleeve. It's right here in the notes that I've put on the side here. Really deep stuff, Kavalt, Mamish, deep, beautiful teaching here. But we really need to rip this Mishnah apart before we get into the creamy insides, you know? So does anyone have an interpretation here that, you know, they can say simply, Shmuel, you really, you didn't get it. You know, there's something very simple and true here. Let me tell you what it is. Philip usually has that type of insight. He usually says, yeah, it's just simple. It's easy, very easy to read here. Philip, do you have any of that insight, especially with the holy vestments that you have on yourself?
Rabbi, today's a day on this one. I'm definitely not going to rely on my own understanding. So I'll phone a friend.
Wow. See?
And there are a few on the screen here.
You see that?
Nah.
You
I
see
need
how...
to buffer a bit more on this one.
No, you see that even in his answer of saying, I don't know, he already has insight of what the Mishnah says here. A humility of understanding here. I don't understand. Let me phone a friend. Yeah, could be. That's a very deep, simple interpretation of this. Okay, anyone else want to address this Mishnah? Give it a go. Yes, Mark, go for it.
No, Rob, mine is even just more simple. I'm just trying to kind of get the ball rolling also in my head. So I think the first thing that comes to mind is, you know, that the classic thing about find yourself a teacher, get yourself a teacher. But in terms of, you know, my initial thing on this Mishnah, when it says exile yourself, I don't think it means physically. I think it means there's so much distraction in our modern life, and we're so tempted to do all kinds of other things. So I think exile means really take yourself away mentally and have that time to focus and almost isolate yourself, but not in a negative physical way. That's just my initial kind of thought. The next part, yeah, I don't really know, but I think it's something to do with being, you know, open to new information, or, you know, having other people helping you. But I'm stumbling there. That's just my little kind of kickoff for now.
Beautiful. And you know, while you're speaking, a little kickoff. It's almost like a spark plug. You know, a spark plug, you know, they use to smash windows. You know, you can smash a window just by a small little spark plug. And you just smashed it open here, Mark, with your interpretation. And, you know, it could be that I'm going to give you the following analogy to open up the Mishnah. And I think you did already open a lot of it for us. But I saw a rabbi sort of speaking online, or running a course about the 12 steps for drug addicts. and definitely feeling some form of addiction to not being able to get alcohol, and everyone's worrying about how to do that. What do we do? Philip, I know you don't drink, so you're much luckier, and maybe you've been preparing for this for many years of your life. But the understanding of this Mishnah is the following. We are all somewhat needing of a drug rehab, okay? And what that means is we start off our engagement with life every day, and we think we understand what we need to do. We think we understand what we need to engage with. We can even have spiritual connection and awakening and say, it's somewhat clear to me. What the Mishnah is saying to us is our nature is to be pulled after physicality and to be pulled after the surrounding environment and culture, and to be pulled after the materialistic elements and the vices that life has for us. And I wouldn't say life, the vices that non-life has for us. The vices that the empty vacuum of existential loss and confusion has for us. Yeah, all of these vices, we get pulled after them. You know, I could just throw out a number of them, you know, but whatever they are, the vices of life that we are pulled after. And we think we know what life is all about. We think we know, we have it clear. But what it's saying is, exile yourself to a place of Torah. Exile yourself to a place of Torah. What that means is, you want to be religious, or you want to be connected, you want to be conscious, you want to be spiritually tapped in. If you're in the same type of mentality and framework of thought and just general ritualistic engagement with what you do on a daily basis, it is almost impossible to extricate oneself from that type of innate and ingrained mentality. And it's saying, exile yourself to a place where you have no access to those things, where you have no ability to stumble on those things. Like a drug rehab place where you can't even access your drugs. There's no way you can access. You're almost stuck in a prison. You can't get out until you recalibrate your settings, until you enter into a place of recalibration. Now, an example of that, and this is just an example, and we have to try and understand how it applies to us if we don't have this opportunity. But I remember when I went to yeshiva, okay? When I went to yeshiva, I remember, you know, and a lot of this is based on the Midrash Shmuel, which was a 16th century rabbi from Tzfas, as well as the Maharal and Rabbi Nachman, of course. And what they say is the following, you know, go and exile yourself to a place of Torah. Now, when I went to yeshiva, maybe the second or third year, I went into a yeshiva called Or Sameach in Jerusalem, into this, you know, dorm, which was almost like you know, you have like the basement level, and there's like the under the basement level where they like, it's like under the ground, but they have to have like slits in the top section that you had some light and air streaming through, but that was like underground, that you're sort of looking out like in a sewer, like a rat, you know. And I remember having a shower there and seeing slugs on the wall and thinking to myself, what have I gotten myself into? You know, oh my gosh, I miss my shower at home. I miss my clean bed. I miss my mummy making me food. I miss all those things. And now I'm stuck in this hellhole. You know, what am I doing? And you walk around and people are just dressed in a certain way, totally focused on the study of Torah, totally focused on spirituality. I mean, you don't have much access there for any form of distraction. You know, you don't really have proper internet access to sort of get distracted. So, and you're focused totally on the study of Torah. Now, why do you do that to yourself? Why? And what I did was I came to a realization that I've become too attached to the physical environment and the pleasures and the comforts of this world. And I'm biased. I'm totally biased and totally, too attached to so many things, and I don't have freedom of deep awareness and understanding of who I really am. And this whole process, more than it is just the study of Torah and learning how to study, was being in an environment like a drug rehab of recalibrating and freshening up and tapping into the essential self through that experience of not having all of these vices surrounding me. And that's what it's saying to us. Goyle, the Midrash Shmuel says, exile yourself. And we know there's a concept of the city of refuge, where if a person kills someone by mistake, you have to run to a city of refuge, which was essentially a yeshiva, because it's all of the Kohanim were there, the Leviim were there. So it was like a yeshiva. Yeah, so run to the yeshiva, but run to the yeshiva, because if you don't run, you'll be killed by the family members who are chasing you to hunt you down. And what he says there is understand how important this concept is, because who's chasing you? Who's chasing you is the ego. Who's chasing you is the external self. It's trying to kill you because you think you have it all worked out. All of the biases that are in you are actually there to get you, chasing you like someone trying to kill you. Run to a city of refuge. Run to a place which is pure, which is unaffected by the vices and physicalities of this world. And that's the importance of being in a place, in an immersive environment of Torah. That's why it's fundamental to have experiences of life, in life, as Colin is saying, where there is no distraction on a very macro or deeper level. That's like the concept of going to yeshiva, of totally being detached, as you would call it, the spiritual ashram of Judaism, lahavdil elef havdolas, 1,000 billion havdolas, that you come into a yeshiva of being detached from this world. But it's also saying, enter into your own yeshiva in your own life. Have moments where you exile yourself from this world in immersive experiences of spirituality, where you are totally focused without any disruption of the just immersive spiritual experience, where even the Vilna Gaon said, if he didn't learn, I think it was like 6 hours straight of Torah without any disruption, 6 hours straight, no looking at your WhatsApp in between, no looking at emails or like hearing this and talking, 6 hours straight. If you don't do that, then he says you can't even access the higher planes because you're just so attached to all of the physicality around you. So that's the first concept here of have goyle lemakom Torah. And then it says, because it doesn't come after you. It doesn't come after you naturally. What comes after you naturally is Netflix. What comes after you naturally is making a living, which is good, again, necessary. But the unnecessary elements that we're talking about here is when it pervades life, when it precludes you from living life. What comes after you naturally are the vices and simplicities of this world, which are there to distract us and say you're going to be able to enter into this and feel better. I spoke to someone yesterday who said during the lockdown, they've started playing video games, and we're talking about an adult, who's playing video games. Why? Because they need a vice to sort of distract them, to enter into a state of distraction. So they're going onto games on their phone. And I won't lie to you, I've had to also sort of quell my pull after such things as well. To sit down and play. He's playing some golf on the phone. I wouldn't mind playing like that. But then I realized how empty that vice is. It doesn't. But you're pulled automatically. I watch my kids. They're the ones that got me into it. But I see my kids. They're pulled after that vice. That's what comes after you naturally. Torah is not coming after you naturally. It's not saying, come, let's go learn Torah. Come, let's go. Exciting stuff. Wow, it's going to transform. It's going to give you such great experience. It's going to give you such nutritious, fun, enjoyable circumstances. Everyone else is watching Netflix and playing video games, or I don't know what they're doing. And here we have our holy, beautiful Yidden learning Torah. Maybe they're learning from someone else. I'm not sure. I'm sure they are. Definitely they are. But, what is it? Why? Why doesn't it come after us naturally? Because Torah needs to be accessed through the deeper essence of who we are. And that deeper essence needs to be broken into. Yeah, it needs to be broken into. And it's only broken into once we realize that we have so many other vices that we've attached ourselves into that it's almost impossible to enter into the realm of Torah. Because why? I've got so many other things to distract me, which are easier and more accessible. I have to only pay a monthly fee of whatever it is. And that's it. Easy. It's on my phone. So that's what we're seeing here. It doesn't come after you. It doesn't come after you. You have to chase after it. You have to understand that it's not going to run after you. Torah and the deeper parts of who we are and the deeper nutritious aspects of real fulfillment aren't chasing us. We have to chase them. But the Midrash Shmuel brings, if you start to chase it, if you develop a thirst for it, if you're actually going to run after it, then it will come after you. You actually come into a framework of realizing, wow, this is actually so much more enjoyable than anything else. Like, are you crazy? You're going to sit on my phone for half an hour, 5 hours playing a video game? Are you dof? Are you crazy? I'm going to sit and learn Torah. Amazing. What? I'm going to watch Netflix. How empty is that? So I'm going to do something meaningful, experience something deep and meaningful. There's nothing better than that. So that's what it means. If you chase after it, then it will stay with you. But then it says, because it's your friends that will establish it in you. And the Midrash Shmuel says something crazy. He says, it's not the rabbi that is the ikar. It's not the rabbi that is the main thing. It is your friends that is the main thing. What that means is the following. Your friends are going to protect you. The rabbi's not going to protect you. It's your friends, okay? Because what we understand, and we've spoken about the horizontal and vertical axes of expansion, what we're understanding is we are tended to expand horizontally within the vices of this world. Now, the rabbi represents a vertical plane of expansion through chokhmah, through wisdom, through spiritual depth. Now, if you have an environment where you're surrounded by friends that aren't engaging with vices, you speak to your friends and they're like, what, are you playing video games? You nuts? Are you watching Netflix? I don't do such things, I don't do such things. And you have your friends in healthy routines, studying Torah and doing exercise and growing and speaking in a certain way and engaging in a certain way with emunah and patience and depth and development and growth. Okay, well, now I'm guarded a little bit more within my expansion of the horizontal. Now I'm going to be a little bit more focused in my experience of life, and I'm not going to learn from the negative behaviors of the people around me. So that's the importance of having people around you to sort of, as pawns on a chessboard, they're there to protect the arteries there. They're there to protect the queen and the king and the other pieces that are there that are much more vital. So your friends are these pawns, so to speak, that are there to protect you. You look at them and you see, well, they're not doing such things. How can I shouldn't do such things either. But when we see our friends doing such things, then we justify it and say, it's fine, no worries, go ahead and do it. But you're nuts, you shouldn't be doing such things. And that's where we, it's interesting, the Midrash Shmuel, just add this in, he says, sometimes you are so attached to the ego and the vices of the ego that the only thing that will get you involved in actual nutritious experiences of life, such as the study of Torah, for example, is the jealousy of your friend. You say, and you look at your friends and you say, look at how much Torah they know. I can't know, I need to learn more. So you're actually using the same type of egoic expansion vice of jealousy to get you involved in that type of inner experience. And it could be those are the things you need to start off with to detach from the external vices of the environment that one's in, to then allow yourself to be exiled into a place where you're surrounded by people who know so much Torah. Gosh, I need to study Torah. But then you realize it's not about knowing. It's not about how much you know in comparison. It's about your deeper connection. And that's what allows you to enter into that. And then that's the final reality here of what the Mishnah says. V'al binasecha al tishayin. Don't rely on your understanding. Don't rely on your understanding. Your bina is your understanding. There's a form of intellect here, okay? Your chokhmah is a deeper wisdom. It's a deep intrinsic wisdom. Your bina is almost like, it's sort of like what you tend to on an external level. It's like what you sort of, naturally go towards because your logic sort of discerns, oh, I feel like playing the video game now, it's going to make me feel good. That's your bina, sort of weighs up things and understands things in a certain way. And through your weighing up, you prioritize certain things through your bina. And it's saying, don't rely on your bina. Don't rely on it because your bina is warped. Your bina is no doubt hectically warped. 90% of our bina, of our understanding, and that's being very generous there, is warped by our ego and by how we've been brought up and by our culture and by all of the laziness and externalities that we have that come from the ego. So don't rely on your bina. Realize you don't know what you actually need. You actually think you need that, but you don't. Your inner self knows what it needs. You think you know what you need. You think you need to just sit down and be lazy. You think that you need to sit down and do nothing. You think that you sit down and be loathful and negative and just distract yourself and do something that has no sustenance. You think that's what you need. That's not what you need. So what I want to conclude with is a quote from Rabbi Nachman in the Likutei Moharan that quotes this part of the Mishnah. It says, "Do not rely on your own understanding." And I think that this quote from Rabbi Nachman really puts everything into perspective here. It's such a beautiful quote. I actually sent it out last night via the Rejuvenate platform, and I'll mention the quote to you now. The essence of Judaism is to conduct oneself solely with innocence and simplicity, without any sophistication, which means we become too sophisticated for ourselves. We become so sophisticated in our worries and in what we need to do to distract ourselves. And we're so sophisticated with our different vices, and different forms of distraction. No. Innocence and simplicity. Simple things, simple elements of life, simple elements of experience and enjoyment. A person has to ascertain that God is present in whatever they do, without any concern whatsoever for their own esteem. Okay? There's so much that we understand is promoted by our egos, so much that has confused and polluted our perception of life. And that's what Rabbi Nachman is saying, that a person has to ascertain that God is present in whatever we do, that the inner essence is present in our experience of life, rather than the ego, the esteem that may motivate the externality. He should do it, or they should do it, only if it brings glory to God. But if not, not. Very simple, but again, profound barometer. Does this bring glory to Hashem, or does this bring glory to me? Okay, that's an easy way of entering into separating the experience of life. And that's a barometer of, does this bring glory to Hashem? Meaning, am I utilizing a deeper framework of experience of life through bringing glory to Hashem, moving myself out of the picture, moving my externality out of the picture, but entering into a deeper state of experience? And thus, this way, a person will certainly never stumble. And that's what it's all about here, stumbling. You can fall into a deep pit and not get out. I've spoken to people that said, I'll call certain individuals who I haven't seen online with us for a while. And they'll say to me, you know what? I miss it so much. I've just been drawn into work and into certain things that are just vices. And I'm empty. I've become so empty and I don't know how to get out. I don't know how to get out. I'm stuck. I know that it's wrong, but I'm stuck. You know, I've stumbled and it's almost impossible for me to get my way back. And I've become too attached, you know, and I miss it. I miss the learning. I miss the prayer. I miss the davening. I miss the shul. I miss those experiences. I miss that deeper part of myself, but I can't access it because I'm stuck. And that's what we're learning from this Mishnah. I mean, Gevalt, can you imagine? I said to myself, I'm not going to not teach this morning because I don't know what the Mishnah is saying, you know. But there's so much depth in this Mishnah. It's beyond comprehension. Yeah, Jenny.
I was thinking of a different interpretation for slightly different. I mean, everything you say, I completely get. For the last part, and do not rely on your own understanding. If it had said just do not rely on your understanding, I would be completely satisfied with all these interpretations that I've heard this morning. But the fact that it says your own makes me feel that that last sentence attached to, for it is your colleagues who will cause you to remain with you, that it's suggesting that you should not just learn by yourself. You should be reading up, you should be learning with someone else. You should be discussing. Is that possible?
Definitely, and it's completely in line with the understanding here, and that is when you're engaging with friends, you know, when you're engaging with people, that is what's more than just the understanding of Torah. And 100%, you need people to understand Torah. You need to engage with people to have a deeper awareness of Torah. But what it's saying here is just the simple engagement with people in the study of Torah is what motivates you, is to see that other people are engaging with deeper forms of activity. You know, I give this analogy a few times, but it's like doing exercise now at home, not in a gym, is quite difficult. Because, you know, when you go to a gym and you're surrounded by people that are all exercising and motivated, and you know, if you're trying to achieve a certain goal and you see people are thinner than you or stronger than you, look, you're jealous, so you're going to be motivated. Same to here, we're saying that our initial understanding of things is quite biased and quite subjective and quite warped. And we need people around us to sort of motivate us to be in the right frame of mind. And you're 100% right, to learn with other people, to be surrounded by other people that are doing the right things, gives us an awareness that we don't know what to do, actually. You know, we think that we shouldn't be exercising at home because we're too lazy. But in fact, if we were, you know, placed into an environment now where everyone around us was exercising, there was music and people were strong and healthy, we'd find ourselves, within ourselves, something to do to be able to start exercising, start to be able to do something, you know? And that's what we're saying here from a spiritual perspective. We think that we know what we're meant to be doing in life. We have no clue. We are so stuck in our vices and so stuck in our routine way of life that we need people around us to shift that. And we need to be in a place sometimes of full exile, bereft of any distraction, in order to really tap into the right way of life and the right things for ourselves. Yeah. So shkoyach, everyone. I hope you have a blessed day with much brocha, and thank you for joining us. Sure, there's lots more to be discussed. Any final statements here, questions? We have 3 minutes left. Ken, did I answer the voice, or is the voice still there, Ken?
No, it was an excellent shiur today. I loved it. I just want to say, I think that life for me is a very simple exercise. It's about choice and consequence. And by studying, I mean, to dedicate some quality time to Torah would improve your quality of your own decision making based on that.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that sums it up. You know, to exile yourself into a framework of Torah is only benefiting you. Only benefiting you. You know, Hashem doesn't need you to learn Torah. Hashem doesn't need it. You know, what Hashem needs is for you to be a happy, connected, developed, person that enjoys life. That's what Hashem needs. That's what Hashem wants, you know. But I don't need my kids to do homework. I don't. But what I do want them to have is the tools, the ability to tap into life and to be able to deal with life and make decisions. Same to Hashem wants us to study Torah because it's going to give us the ability to detach from our vices and from our subjective, biased, perverted views of what we need to be doing. And that's what affects our decision making. You know, and that's what Kenny's saying here. When we study Torah, we enter into a purity of mind, a purity of thought, a purity of existence, into that spiritual depth of connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in every moment of our lives. As Rabbi Nachman is saying, Hashem needs to be in every moment of our experience of life. Every moment we need to ask ourselves, is God here or is it me, my ego here? That's the question we need to be asking ourselves every moment, God or ego, okay? And that's the teaching here. So it should be with brocha until next time. And again, I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. I don't know. I might hit the Mishnah and say, I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. So let's see. Hashem, we should pray that Hashem should give us all wisdom and understanding and lots of bracha. All the best.